This presentation is brought to you by Rural Resources Community Action. We are grateful for our local and state partners working to increase the availability of childcare. We want to extend a special thank you to the Washington State Department of Children, Youth, and Families, Community-Minded Enterprises, the Imagine Institute, and Lucky 9 Childcare for their continued work to ensure that we have available, safe, and affordable childcare.
We have got Helen Kramer here, and she is the Child Care Licensing Supervisor at the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. She has been with licensing for 27 years, and prior to that, she has operated several child care centers. She moved into licensing home providers and then centers, and then now kind of does both. In short, she's worked with children in education and childcare at all ages and abilities since 1984. And today she's here to discuss the ins and outs of childcare licensing. And Helen, did I get that correct?
You did, thank you. So hi, I am Helen Kramer. I am the supervisor located at the Spokane office. And I'm here just to kind of give a quick overview of what licensing is for family home child care providers. As you can see on your screen, this is the overview. This is available online and also will be available as a link. And if not, you might be able to just connect with the resource referral and they can maybe get you this information out to you. So you have it. So there are different types of childcare facilities. We will be focusing on the family home. It is for children 12 or fewer. You need to be living in the home. And when you are first licensed, you will be licensed for 6 children. You get to choose your ages, birth through the age of 12. So when you see a license, it will say to 13. So up until that child turns 13, once that child is 13, they are no longer considered part of the program unless they happen to be special needs. And then we would need to have a little bit more information, but that's down the road. So we won't get into the weeds of that one. Other types of licenses is child care centers, school age programs, and outdoor nature-based programs. If you're interested in any of those, you can contact me and I can give you more information about that. We do have a set of rules that are legislated down to us. The rules were put together in over a 2.5-year period and went into effect, these current ones, in August of 2019. When we do review of policies in that big of a scope, we did have family home providers, we had child care providers, we had some licensors, we had the SEIU, which is the Union for Family Homes, and a lot of different people who are players. So Head Start, ECAP, and anyone who would come under the licensing. We worked together for 2 solid years trying to figure out how to put the rules together. So this first one now, the Family Home and Center WAC is 110-300, is all the same rules. They used to be separate, family homes and centers. They are now one rule. And then we have a separate rule for school age and then a separate rule for outdoor nature-based. When you are considering to do childcare, there are things that you will want to find out about is there a shortage in your community? And you can find out that information by going to Childcare Aware. This is the website. And they can help decide if you are in a desert area or if your area is saturated. The one thing we don't want to do is saturate an area so much that you cannot get business, because that's why you want to do this, is to get business and be able to stay home, possibly with your own children, and then also helping out others. You also will want to make sure that where you are located at, you can actually run a business there. So if you are in a home, family home, usually do not have an issue for doing a business unless you are in a homeowners association, and then you'll need to check with your association. If you happen to live in an apartment or if you are renting, you will need to check with your landlord to make sure that they will allow you to run a childcare business on the property. One of the biggest issues when it comes to space is that we are going to be looking both at the indoor space and the outdoor space, and your outdoor space needs to have a licensed area so children are safe for playing outside. So if you happen to be located anywhere where there is water hazards, a stream that pops up in the spring, or if you have a pond that pops up, you do need to want to make sure that that hazard is made inaccessible to children. If it's through the right of way, like in some areas of the north where you have the little stream running through and right in front of your property along the street line, you do need to want to make sure that you are trying to find ways to make that inaccessible to children. And that will be something that you will want to work with your licensor about. There is a change coming up. So once you're licensed and you've been licensed for a few years, we will be able to increase your capacity. Currently, our capacity is 12. When you were first licensed, you'll be licensed for only 6. That includes any child that you have of your own that is at home during the time of you being licensed. After you've been licensed for a year, depending on the age ranges that you are working with, there is a possibility of increasing your capacity. After 2 years and you do have an assistant that is working with you, then we can work up to 12 children. Once you are licensed, there is grant monies to help. There at times are some grant monies to help you also get licensed. So this section here gives you some places to look to find out if there is money available for you to help with that assistance. When you are licensed, if you are working with families who are lower income and they are working, they have access to what is called Working Child Care Connections. We call it the Child Care Subsidy Funds. And once you are licensed, you will automatically be issued a number that will allow you to receive subsidy monies. So for qualifications, we're going to look at those specifically on another slide. And we will be looking specifically at the requirements for family home provider. There's always a question, do I need to be licensed? So the answer to that is, if you are caring for children on an ongoing basis in your home, you must be licensed. If you are caring for a child in the child's home, you do not need to be licensed for that. There is a program if the family is low income. There is a program called Family, Friends, and Neighbors that can help assist with payments for that. But that is also a program that is run through DCYF. If you are needing some help with getting licensed and finding out processes and things, you can get support through the pre-licensing team through dcyf.welcome@dcyf.wa.gov. And you can ask them and they can set you up with a licensor that may be able to help support you with that. They can also help you with finding, they have the knowledge of what grants are available for people also. Okay, so our next screen is the family home licensee. So this is your checklist of everything that you need to have in order to meet the requirements for the position of being a family home licensee. You will watch an orientation video. So this is just like your this is what you need to know. There is a more in-depth orientation that has 2 modules that you will find online that you will need to complete. And then when you've completed that, you'll be able to have more access to things. But you will need to create a merit account. This is the email address for that. When you've created that account, then you will go back in and request a STARS ID number, and then you will request a portable background. The one thing that I want you to know is that once you've created the merit account, the information that is needed for the STARS ID will automatically populate in, so you don't have to retype everything. When you have your STARS ID and you go in to do your background check, the information pertinent for that background check will automatically pop in if you've already completed it. Any and every person who is living on your premise, meaning the address, location, and in the house itself, if you have a second building on your property that's like a mother-in-law's home, people in that home would also need to have their backgrounds checked. So it's anybody on that licensed premise. The only difference would be if you were in an apartment, you only have to worry about the people living in your space. So any person over the age of 13 will need to do a background check. Anyone over the age of 16 will need to complete fingerprints. So the 13, 14, and 15-year-olds will need to still do a background, but they are not required to do fingerprints. So the next step after you get all of that information is you would want to go into your merit account, and once you have your license, you will need to be added to the facility, and you will be given the number of what your license is, so you can add yourself, and all your family members and any person that you employ will be added to not your specific merit account, but to an account that is called the facility account. So that way you will be able to see everybody connected to your family home in one spot. So you will add your family home into your merit account, and then the licensor will verify that you truly are the person who should be there. Trainings that you will be required to complete prior to the department being able to issue you a license is any person over the age of 14 in your home will need to complete a TB test. That information will need to be added to the merit account. Your CPR and first aid, make sure that it has included the pediatrics if you are caring for children under the age of 2. Otherwise, it is child and adult. And then a food handler's permit. If you are planning to serve food, or even if parents are bringing in food and you are going to give it to them, you will be required to have a food handler's permit. All of these trainings you will need to add in yourself into the merit account, and also the bloodborne pathogens. So for your family members, what they will need to do if they are over the age of 14, they will need to do a TB test, and they will need to have a background. And those will need to be added in to they will each make their own merit account. So didn't preface that very well at the beginning. So each person in your home will have their own merit account, and then they will be able to link it all to the facility account by adding you as their under employment, but they will be putting in that they are family. And then Safe Sleep is a training if you plan on having children who are infants. It says infants and toddlers, but we are looking at Safe Sleep is really for those who are under the age of 12 months. So the one under one is what that focuses on. So that is a training that you will need to do, and that training is required to be updated each and every year. Childcare Basic and the licensing orientation. You'll want to do the licensing orientation. Like I told you earlier, it is a two-step, part 1 and part 2. That once you've completed that orientation, you will be given a link to what is called the provider portal. You will have at that point, you will get a connection from the staff at the provider portal regarding that you now have the ability to apply for a childcare license. That application is done online. You will need to complete your Childcare Basic prior to the department being able to issue you a license. And so that is all part of that need to get done. Once you are licensed, you will want to make sure that you get your education information uploaded into the merit account. So if you have a high school diploma, you will want to submit that to Merit as soon as you basically have your account set up. We want that in there so we can verify that you're meeting the hiring and starting that license requirement. If you happen to have any college education, you will want to submit an official transcript to education verification at centralia.edu. There is information there on how to submit that information. And that will transfer into your Merit account under your education tab to show what kind of education you have. If at this point you have none beyond high school, you will be required to complete the Early Childhood Education Short Certificate or have an equivalent. If you have not completed the ECA Short Certificate or an equivalent, you need to have a plan on how you will meet that education. And that is something that you can work with your licensor once we get your application. Those will be things that will be asked about. And right now for your trainings, you would be going to the dcyftraining.com. You can locate trainings there. This will be changing down the road. But for now, that is that. And I don't want to get you confused by telling you the new one because it's not up and running yet. So some of the things before I go on to the next page, some of the things that come up is people asking about one, education. You need to have a high school diploma. Within 5 years, you do need to meet the initial certificate or have the equivalent. The initial certificate is 12 credits that are specified through the early childhood education program through the community colleges. You will be, when you are filling out your application, you will need to have a social security number. If you do not, you will need to complete a sworn declaration that you do not have one. And then you would be submitting your ITN number for tax purposes. You do need to have a Washington State business license. This is not a childcare license. This is a different type of license. This is telling the state of Washington that you are going to be doing business at a certain location, which would be your home. Other things that you would need to do also is you will need to complete a water test for copper and lead. There is a way to get this the testing done free of charge, and that would be connecting to the Department of Health, and you would be looking for, it's called WIN, WIIN program, and they have funding currently to help assist with having your water tested. That would be the water testing is from the spigots inside of your home that you would be using for drinking and for using for food service, so cooking water. If you have water coming out of your refrigerator, that would also need to be tested. This is not the same testing of water. If you have a well, then you would need to have your well water tested, and that's being tested for E. coli and other substances, where the testing from your kitchen sink is testing for lead and copper. So there's two different types of water tests that you may have to have. You do want to let us know if you are on a septic or sewer, and if you are on city or well water, because there are certain things that we will need from you to show that your water and your system is acceptable to add extra stress to it. People always ask, is there a fee to become licensed? There is a fee of $30 that is done every year. So you would need to, when you submit your application, you would then also submit a check for $30 to the office location of where you are being licensed. So for us, it would be to the Spokane office. If you happen to be listening to this and you are not in the Spokane catchment area, then you might end up sending it to a different local office. But you can find out where your local office is by going to our online support. Once your application is received to the department, our support staff reviews it to make sure that the items that are required have been submitted. If there's something missing, they will ask you to get that paperwork in. Once everything is in and approved, they will then send it to the licensor who will be working with you. And then you should receive information from the licensor about if there's anything missing or needs to be updated in your policies, procedures, and they will help you with that licensing process. People always ask, how long does it take me to get licensed? And the RCW, which is the Code of Washington, we are required to have you licensed within 90 days of approved application. We don't always take that long. A lot of times we can get it done sooner than that, but our requirement is to complete it within 90 days. If we find that there are some issues happening, such as water, well, we won't use water mitigation. Background checks haven't been completed, then we cannot license you until all backgrounds have been approved and cleared. If you have pets, it is okay. You do want to let your parents and families know that you have a pet. You will need to add that into your parent handbooks. Let them know what kind of pet you have. You will need to have, if it is an animal that requires vaccinations, you will need to have copies of those vaccinations for the department to review. You do not need to send them in to us. We will see that when we come out to your home. And if you have dogs or cats that are going to be in areas where the children are at, you do need to have an area where your pet can eliminate that is not accessible to children. Now comes the piece that everybody wants to know. How much can I get paid? if it will let me get to that screen. Okay, it's not being nice. We'll do it this way. Okay. So licensing for family homes, this is the pay rate that you have. If you are located in Spokane County catchment area, there is a higher base rate than if you are just within Region 1. Region 1 encompasses Spokane down to Asotin, Clarkston area. And it encompasses also the Wenatchee catchment, which is south is Grant. And then all the way up, we both go all the way up to the Canadian border. So Spokane, if you are in the Spokane County, if you are outside of Spokane County, then you would be looking under Region 1, and it gives you how much you would be making for a full day, a half day, a partial day for infants up to 11 months. Once they turn 12 months, there are two different categories. One is considered enhanced, so it's like infants enhanced, so up to for 12 to 17 months, there is a range, and then 18 to 29 months is toddlers in their range. Preschool is 30 months up to 5 years of age that are not attending kindergarten. And once they are attending kindergarten, then they have a school age rate. So that brings me to the very end. This is just kind of a quick overview. So this gives you the licensing process. This is where I got the information, so you can just click on that and bring up the other slide that we were looking at. You will need to complete the online orientation. Like I said, there are 2 modules. This kind of gives you a brief overview, which each module is about. It's basically, it is a higher view of what licensing is, what quality early learning care is, why is it important, talks about the WAC and the RCW. The RCW is it's the Regional Code of Washington. So that's the big codes. The WAC is the Washington Administrative Codes are based off of what the legal code is. And then the licensor is responsible for making sure that you as the licensee is meeting the Washington Administrative Code. Once you have completed your orientation, it is good for 1 year. So if you find out that you aren't quite ready because of something that you learned during that presentation, you do have up to a year to apply for the license. So once you've completed it, step 2 would be contacting the provider portal, and you'd be emailing a copy of your orientation certificates, and then they will set up the application process for you in the portal. The last pieces is just some resources, childcare, early learning providers. This here, when you go into that site, it does give you a lot of your information on how to become licensed. It will be where you can access the information for your orientation. This link is for the provider portal. Childcare and early learning licensing guidebook. This is not the WAC. This is a guidebook to help you understand and what the quality standards are to help meet that. It is available in English, Somali, and Spanish at this time. You can click on that link, and that will bring you right to the website to look at that. You may download it. It is what we call a living document. So as things change and rules change, the guidebook will also be updated. And then we have the Washington Administrative Code for childcare centers and family home link care. And if you have any questions, you may contact myself as a supervisor, or you can also contact Mary Ayers, who is our administrative assistant, and our phone numbers are located here. So again, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Good luck on your journey.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Helen, especially with the contact information. I think that is really helpful. And I think just one follow-up question. Is there any patterns that maybe you guys have noticed with challenges or obstacles for people going through the process that maybe can save them just a day or two of time? Commonalities, common challenges, anything like that come to mind? Or is it pretty straightforward? People tend to work through this and, they meet that 90 days,
Yeah, it's usually the biggest barriers is going to be the having a fenced area. That really has been our biggest barriers when it comes to family homes. And then just making sure that background checks are done. I mean, we can't issue a license until everybody's background check is completed and submitted. So we definitely want to make sure that once you say, yeah, I want to start doing this, that they're working in merit, getting accounts, getting STARS IDs, and getting that background submitted.
Fantastic. And especially the first one, the fences sound very important for folks who might have a natural water structure, like you're mentioning,
yes,
running through their front yard, backyard. Now, is it important if children are coming in the front to go to the home and then maybe the play area is in back, and let's say there's some sort of small stream running through the front, the children just kind of cross that stream to get in the house? Would that be a scenario where if they're in the back would just have to be fenced, or would kind of that walkway? Or
so that is what we would look at, and we would be working with the provider to do what we call a waiver on how are you going to keep children safe in that scenario. So there's different ways that we can do that. And that would need to be worked out with the provider and the licensor, because every scenario is different.
So different. And it sounds like the licensor is really there to help guide the person applying, and they work together. It's not a top-down, do this, do that. It's let's do this together.
Yes, most definitely. We really do want to partner with all of our partners, want to partner with Childcare to make Washington the most user-friendly, highest quality. We do have probably one of the more stringent rules, but when it comes to quality across the 50 states, we're at the top.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. And like I said, thank you for providing your contact information on there. That'll of course be, available here in the recording. And just thank you for your time. Thanks so much for your experience. And it's clearly something that you're passionate about and have done for some time now. And so we're very lucky to have you on. Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome, and good luck for everybody who is going to apply.
We have got Sherry Lee here, which she is a TAO, a Technical Assistance and Outreach Program Assistant at Imagine Institute. She's been with the Imagine Institute for 7 years as a trainer and lead mentor. And today she'll be addressing the mentor program Imagine U offers for getting licensed. And so, Sherry, I'd love to hand it over to you and just let me know if you need anything else from me.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ryan. Hi, everyone. My name, as Ryan said, is Sherry. I am over here in East Wenatchee. I've been with the Imagine Institute for 7 years, and so I'm interested in giving you guys a bunch of information on how to become an intern with the Imagine You program. So we're going to go through a few slides. Let's get started. What is the Imagine Institute? Well, we are comprised of our core programs, which would be training, the Prepare for Care classes, grant assistance, our substitute pool, the Imagine You program, and our shared services department. Imagine You strives to increase the number, quality, and professional potential of early childhood educators in Washington State. We connect those seeking to open their own licensed family childcare, which would be you guys as interns, with experienced early childhood education providers. That would be our mentors. We do a peer-to-peer mentorship. We do community-based training, financial incentives, and reciprocal growth. So what do our interns look like? Interns are individuals who are interested in opening their own family childcare business. All interns must complete the requirements for becoming a licensed family childcare provider, in addition to the lead teacher requirements. Interns are guided through this process of becoming licensed through assignments, peer support, and mentor guidance. Our peer mentorship connects a person who has experience in early learning with a person who desires to learn the skills to manage a childcare business. The relationship is based on mutual respect, targeted goal setting, and a journey towards co-learning. Interns spend 20 hours a month working with their mentor's childcare. Their mentor observes and guides them through the daily work of a childcare provider. This will include child guidance, interactions with the parents or families, and the logistics of running a childcare business. Who are our lead mentors? They are highly experienced, licensed family childcare providers who have been approved to train the Imagine You course material. Lead mentors support a cohort of interns through relevant trainings and assignment review. Interns will attend a weekly training with their peers and a lead mentor. Some of these trainings will earn you STARS hours. Trainings provide interns with useful skills, knowledge, and connections to more of your peers. These trainings are essential to build the skills needed to become licensed. Imagine You has developed 8 milestones to prepare interns to become licensed and run a thriving business on a timeline that is designed to meet the licensing requirements within 8 months. Each milestone contains multiple assignments that interns must complete to prepare them for the licensing application. Some of our milestones that we're going to be dealing with would be environment and health, business, child development and safety, finance, food and nutrition, enrollment and family engagement, building the community and trauma-informed care, and also your awards. So for an intern, your responsibilities would be to complete all the program prerequisites, work 20 hours a month in your mentor's facility, complete a minimum of 1 milestone per month. Remember, those milestones contain multiple assignments. Participate in weekly meetings and STARS trainings. Act responsibly and professionally when at work, including arriving on time. Submit a completed application to DCYF for the Family Home Childcare License and become licensed and care for a subsidized child. The 4 phases to licensing would be 1, to attend an information session and determine if you're ready to open a family childcare. If so, we would put you into a prerequisite course and you would complete all of those. Phase 2, you're going to commit to a class schedule, be matched with a mentor and begin working in their childcare and start taking your trainings. Phase 3, you're going to prepare for the DCYF licensing inspection by completing the facility checklist and performing a last walkthrough with your mentor in your childcare. And last, we're going to have you finish all your milestone assignments, complete your licensing visit, complete the last STARS trainings, become licensed, and enroll a subsidized child. Both mentor and interns grow professionally through Imagine You. Mentors teach interns new skills as they learn alongside or even from their intern. We know relationship-based professional development is the most effective way our industry grows and evolves. The Imagine You program is rooted in reciprocal growth. Wages, interns will receive a stipend of up to $400 for 20 hours of work per month during their 8 months in their mentor's childcare. Mentors will receive $500 a month after completing a monthly observation form, sharing it with their intern. The intern will turn it into their classroom and completing a copy of the sign-in sheet reflecting the intern's hours. New provider awards. When the program is completed, you become licensed and begin caring for a child on subsidy. You will receive a $4,000 award towards your child care. And mentors who submit documentation for the Successful Mentor Award and help their interns complete 100% of their milestones will also receive a $4,000 to invest in their childcare. Program prerequisites are going to include registering with the Electronic Workforce Registry, or MERIT. Provide documentation that's been signed within the last 12 months by a licensed healthcare professional of your tuberculosis or TB testing or treatment. Obtain permission from the homeowner to use the home for licensed childcare business. Complete a facility feasibility checklist. Complete childcare basics training within 5 months of beginning classes. Complete your first aid, CPR, bloodborne pathogens training. Receive a background clearance authorization from DCYF. Submit an education application in Merit. Review your household member responsibilities prior to beginning our program. For priority acceptance, you will want to register for the Washington Early Care and Education Substitute Pool and plan on accepting a minimum of 10 shifts as a substitute. What is Merit? Merit is our workforce registry and official system of record for early learning professionals in Washington State. It is an online system that we use to record and recognize growth and achievement of the early learning field. In Merit, you can help to build a professional profile. It can include recording your employment, training, educational accomplishments, completing a portable background check application, finding training opportunities, manage employee records for a facility or site, and also to be recognized and receive awards for professional achievements. The information collected helps policymakers identify and analyze barriers to access, support career advancements, and program-wide improvements. This information is crucial for encouraging increased recognition and compensation for well-qualified workforces. You can scan the QR code to get signed up in Merit. Once you do that, you can go over to the right side and you can register. Once you have done that, then you will come over to the left side and you may sign in. The first thing you're going to do is go to the My Applications tab, and you will see the STARS ID number. You will apply for your STARS ID number. Once you get that, then you can come back and do your portable background check. That concludes our information session on our Imagine You program. We hope to see you, and you may also click or scan the QR code to get to our intern application. So if you're interested, please fill out the application, or you can email us at mentors@imaginewa.org. And you can also call 206-492-5249. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Sherry. That is great, especially with the contact information there. I had just a couple of quick questions that I think you've answered for me before, but we'll get them for the recording here. What I'm noticing on the prerequisite section there is that aligns really closely with the DCYF checklist of what folks need, and that is probably on purpose because you guys are walking people through that.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. It is aligned with the lead teacher requirements through the WACs for childcare.
Yeah, and so the prereqs like getting a TB test, for instance, you don't need to get 2 of those. That would be ridiculous. You just need to get 1, and that qualifies for the Imagine You. It also aligns with what DCYF needs for licensing, and that is designed to work together.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. And then it sounds like as well as your guys' program offers benefits for people who are just getting started, but it also offers some benefits for people who might have been doing this for some time.
Yes, absolutely. So anyone who has been in the business at least 2 years has been rated a 3 or higher in early achievers can also go to our website and they can apply to be a mentor.
Yeah, which has ongoing benefits that can add to that person's business and help out at the same time.
Yeah, not only do they receive a stipend for doing the observations and making sure that the timesheets and stuff are done correctly with our interns, they too, when their intern gets licensed, would also receive that $4,000 bonus to put towards their daycare.
Fantastic. And then I think it's great that you put in a few slides of the merit system because we hear a lot about that. Sign up in merit, sign up in merit. And then you showed us kind of about, hey, this is what it looks like.
Yeah. We get the same questions.
Which is good. Yeah. And so it sounds like to me, merit is something that someone will sign into and then they will use it kind of ongoing for different steps of the process for some time.
Yes, absolutely. During the course of running their own childcare, they would be entering in their own health and safety documents and stuff. And then their licensor will go in and they can not only see them, but then they can approve them also.
Fantastic. Well, I think that was the questions I had. Are there any other common questions that you can think of off the top of your head that you get from folks?
Not really. Once they actually attend the information session and ask all the questions, I think they're pretty well on their way to knowing whether or not this would be a good opportunity for them. And the fact that we do walk hand in hand with the interns and the mentors, we hold the weekly classes, we help walk them through the assignments. It's pretty easy and very informative over those 8 months. So I think they're pretty good when they're done.
Yeah, which I think is fantastic because a lot of folks, I could imagine who maybe are, newer to getting into this feels very big and large and ominous maybe, but it's really, when you break it down to the different steps, go through it step by step. This is doable and this is possible for people.
It is. I wished I'd have had it 25 years ago when I started my daycare.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, absolutely fantastic. And if I did miss a question, which I probably did, we've got your contact information right there. And so,
absolutely.
yeah, well, thank you very much for your time today, Sherry.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys for joining me. I am with two people from Community Minded Enterprises. I'm with Suzanne Suyama, who is the Director of Strategic Initiatives at Community Minded Enterprises. She has spent 30 years in the early learning field. Throughout the years, she has managed classroom operations, teams of early learning coaches, and has been involved in community initiatives to strengthen the childcare and early learning systems. We've also got Robin Cook, who's an early learning coach and STARS trainer at Community Minded Enterprises. She has been in the early learning field for over 24 years and worked in many capacities, from infant and toddlers to school-age groups. This also includes experience with Head Start and ECAP, but also through a private center. And today they're here to talk about the child care coaching support, some business support, some other resources, and the post-licensing supported cohort model. I'll hand it off to you guys.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for having us. I will kick off. I am Suzanne, and I am here to talk to you a bit about how we can support you after you've become licensed. So you've gone through the whole procedure and you are now licensed. After you become licensed, you have the option of enrolling in Early Achievers. Early Achievers is the state's quality recognition and improvement system. It is required that you participate in Early Achievers if you accept Washington State Working Connection subsidies. For everybody else, it's an optional program that you can participate in. And so we have a team of coaches that supports Early Achievers participants. And we're here to tell you a bit about the services that we provide and the benefits of participating in Early Achievers, not just for you as the early learning provider, but also for the families that you serve. So our contract is through the Childcare of Washington. Childcare of Washington is funded through the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. And we are providing services through the whole eastern strip of the state. So really, our mission is to connect families to childcare and to support providers in becoming successful in their early learning licensed childcare business. So this just bullets out the services that we provide free of charge to Early Achievers participants. It's that connection of connecting families to your business. So we provide some marketing support to you. So we have a statewide system where when families are looking for childcare, they call our 1-800 number or they log into our website and we help connect them to your facility. We also provide many opportunities for you as a licensed provider and any employees that you may have to go through training. Through that training, you'll get some STARS credits, which are required as part of your licensing requirements. We also offer extensive business supports. We know that running a business can be hard and tricky and daunting at times, and we're here to support with that. Also, of course, back to that professional development piece, we have quite a few offerings for professional development for you and your staff. We have a team of mental health consultants that come out on site to work with teachers in the classroom. So if there's some challenging behaviors that are popping up or some struggles that families are dealing with, they can provide some supports around that. The other thing that we have at our fingertips is a lot of data about what the childcare landscape looks like. And we have a huge advocacy team that really advocates on behalf of families and early learning providers for good quality childcare environments. So that's an overview, and then we are going to take you through each of these bullets here. So again, this is a little more detail around what we offer you as a early achievers provider. We offer you coaching, so everyone will be assigned a coach free of charge. The coach connects with you on, could be a weekly basis, a bi-weekly basis, a monthly basis, just really depends on what phase of the journey you're in and what kind of supports that you need. You guide the coaching journey, right? So if you want the coach to work with you around teacher-child interaction, we can do that. If you need some supports on what to include in your environment, we can do that. There's a lot of different options for coaching, and Robin is going to talk a little bit more about that coming up. Also, you'll have access to our professional development opportunities. We're going to give you a little bit more of a peek into what we offer in terms of business supports. One of the things I really like to point out is that you have scholarship dollars available to you, and all of your teachers also will have those same scholarship dollars available to get funded to go back to community college to get your, whether it be your initial certificate, your short certificate, or your AA. In early learning, we also have a program where we provide support for BAs as well. So really, really encourage people to take advantage of that opportunity. I just talked previously about the mental health consultation. That's definitely a value add for anyone that's participating in Early Achievers. And then finally, we help connect you to some funding sources to help support your business. So your coach will tell you all about needs-based grants that come out once a year. When you enroll in Early Achievers, you get an additional percentage of subsidy reimbursement. So if you look at the subsidy reimbursement rates, you'll see the base rate. Based on your tier in Early Achievers, you'll get an additional percentage on a monthly basis for your Working Connections childcare families. So that is super helpful to many. And then finally, once you have submitted and received your quality recognition level, you will get an annual quality improvement award that you can invest back into your business. All right, so we're going to dig in a little deeper to coaching. And for this, I'm going to pass it over to Robin, who is one of our coaches here at Community Minded Enterprises, to tell you a bit more about coaching.
Hi, I'm Robin, and I'm an early learning coach. And so one of the things that I will be doing after you sign up and get licensed, I will be supporting the providers with coaching. And this is something that you don't have to have, but I've found that it's been really helpful to the providers I work with. And one of the main things I would do is just walk along with the director or the teachers through the quality recognition process so that they're not on their own with that. I help with video taping, and I also do a lot of feedback through videotape. And something else we do is just classroom observations and going in and modeling. And actually just looking for and giving resources to directors, owners, and teachers who are asking for that. And I usually get to see each of my providers once a month, unless they're opting for a lower type of coaching. We also have group coaching, which We have monthly specialty hours that the coaches offer, and it changes from month to month. And we also have PLCs, peer learning groups, and book studies that are offered as group coaching. And there's a little video.
When I started my daycare, I had a very decent job, but I decided to take this route because I really want to help single moms as much as I can and be a voice for them. I started my daycare, I opened it, and I started having a 24 hours, and some of the parents will bring the kids 2 o'clock in the morning. I say, no problem, bring them. Thinking about it, all these moms or young women, maybe they are struggling because me coming from somewhere else and coming to the United States, don't have anything, zero, and starting having a life and live a beautiful life and have our own home. That makes me to think hard and think about the young women around me. Early achievers helped me a lot. When I opened the daycare, it was more nurturing. I had just a daycare, come kids, enjoy the day together, but there was not much of instruction. But right now, early achievers, I am with instruction and I'm learning every day. Even looking at the way I set up my daycare, before was only one open place, and then we can all sit together and play. But right now they know which area to go, and that early achievers showed to me and taught me how to do that. The early achievers people, they will come and they will support you. They will come and help you in person, and they helped me a lot. They show me the way. If I needed a question, so if I have doubt, I have support, someone to call. I can call and say, hey, I needed help, but what do you think this? At least I have someone to discuss the things matter with me and the children.
Holly is amazing, and she has an amazing program and continues to grow that program with the support that she's received from early achievers. The interactions alone that these children receive in her care, they're not her students, they're her family, they're her children, and she really does treat them that way.
Today, I can see a total transformation, and she's trying to teach the kids and prepare the kids for preschool. So I'm just really proud of that transformation because she's come such a long way in the years.
These children and the moms are not only do they need my daycare, but they need me mentally and emotionally. They wanted somebody to hear them, listen to them.
She honestly is a blessing to my family, my kids, because without her, there's times I probably wouldn't have made it. When I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? She kind of steps in and goes into mom mode, I wanna say. And she's like, calm down, this is what you need to do, and I love it.
For me, Holly, every day is to help these children and give back to them. That is my ultimate goal.
She's a shining light for some of these families. She really is the best thing that could possibly happen to them.
It's amazing. People are like, oh wow, he's so advanced. And I'm like, I know, it's his daycare, Miss Holly.
So Robin now is going to walk you through our coach menu, which talks a bit about the more specific services that we offer in our coaching department. So Robin, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, so some of the ways that your coach, we would be supporting a provider would be on this menu. We have some different categories. There's leadership coaching, And for leadership coaching, this would be new hire onboarding, facilitating purposeful staff meetings, for a few of them, supports for effective, professional, proactive, collaborative, appreciative, and safe staff meetings, and coaching leaders to be reflective and supportive in their roles. And so with the business coaching, there's the business of childcare, which is a cohort that's led periodically by a group of coaches or one coach. We have staffing supports for recruitment, selection, retention of staff. We'd help with enrollment practices and support, advertising, marketing, and outreach, and building equitable family and staff friendly policies. Those are just a few of the things we might do for business coaching. We have individual coaching supports, customized provider-led sessions, community of practice. We have resource linking, customized service training, reflective practice, and mental health consultation for director and classroom staff. That's called Holding Hope. Modeling and guided practice for coaching. Some of the things we would do was help with transitions, outdoor-based learning, literacy, free play, developmentally appropriate practices for infant, toddler, preschool, and school age, and help with mealtime, open-ended and art and planned art, or personal care routines, just to name a few. And also we would help with coaching for social emotional development, preventing expulsion, promoting positive identity development, attunement, and responsive interactions. And here's a few more. Classroom organization and environment coaching. That would be emotional support for teachers, instructional support, and help with the environment. Interest areas, zoning, inclusion, and professional development and job embedded coaching. This would be follow-up coaching to a training or a presentation, and then we would help with goal setting. We'd also help with the quality recognition with the video highlights and the program profile and the record review. And other professional development includes personal-based and culturally responsive approaches, coaching for equity, beyond behaviors, reflective practice, trauma-informed, and there's a list of other supports too that we could do with professional development. And we also can help with WAC compliance and consultation, with staff qualifications, health, safety, and sanitation, and nutrition, staff-child ratios, and preventing expulsion and anti-bias practices.
All right, thank you, Robin, for sharing the menu. As you can see, that was really created just to kind of spark everybody's thinking around, where might I want to focus my professional growth and development? So it's, even though there's a lot of things on that list, it's certainly not exhaustive. Coaching is really just about meeting you where you're at and helping support you with whatever your goals may be. Okay, so we are going to move on and talk a bit about our professional development offerings. So Community-Minded Enterprises offers several professional development opportunities throughout the year. So once you become licensed, you will be required to complete a minimum number of STARS hours each year. And so we offer a wide variety of classes in order to meet that STARS requirement. but also just to really give you some areas for professional growth above and beyond just those minimum requirements. So each month or each quarter, actually, we come out with a calendar so you can see what you can look forward to in terms of professional development offerings. There will be some in-person options. There will be some Zoom options. So depending on which you prefer. We also have courses in English and we have courses in Spanish, again, based on what you prefer. In addition to the more, what I'm going to call classroom-based type learning opportunities, there's also some peer learning community opportunities, meaning that it's more of not so much a training, but an opportunity for everybody to come together and have discussion around a particular topic. So whether it's how you can incorporate STEM concepts into your classroom or something similar to that. So a variety of professional development that we offer. This is just more about our business supports. There is a platform that you will have access to as an Early Achievers participant called Washington Childcare Business Edge. It is a website, and when you go on that website, you will have access to templates, everything business that you may need. It may be a family handbook, it might be an employee handbook, it might be a policy on expulsion, it could be a policy on collecting fees, just everything that you might think you would need policies on. There's some sample documents in there. There's also a tab that gives you discounts to places you will purchase items for your business. So you'll want to make sure that you check that out. There's also an employment board. So if you're looking for staff, this is a great place to post those employment opportunities. This is one of those areas that we can provide some real specific coaching around as well. This here is just a view of what that website looks like. I think I didn't hit lesson planning. Lesson plan and assessment tips are in there. The thing that's really nice is that they have a lot of things aligned specifically to the Washington State WAC. So there's a whole section of that. You'll also find you'll have access to weekly blog posts. So that's exciting too. So it's something that you want to be visiting frequently, not something that you want to go to just when you're looking for something, but those weekly blog posts are super helpful. All right, the other another resource that you'll have access to as a Early Achievers participant, should you want to enroll, is Brightwheel. It really automates a lot of your business tasks. So think about enrollment, tuition, signing children in and out. It just really automates a lot of those business practices that we have. There is a limited number of these subscriptions that we can offer for free. So you could try them out and see if this is something that you would like to invest in as yourself as a business owner. So make sure you take advantage of that. Okay. And something I highlighted a little bit at the beginning was provider scholarships. So as I mentioned, if you have the desire to go and get your initial certificate, your short certificate, your AA, your BA, please check out the provider scholarships. They're offered through your local community college. They're called Early Achievers Scholarships. So make sure you connect with your community college should you want to take advantage of that opportunity. Finally, this is a slide a little bit more about our infant and early childhood mental health program. This is what I referenced before, having mental health consultants available to you. Sometimes when a teacher is just looking for additional resources to manage the classroom, particularly if there's several complex needs in the classroom, they just need another extra layer of support. And these mental health consultants are here to step in, to provide resources to the teachers, to provide resources to the families, and help with any kind of community referrals that are needed. So we'd like to encourage people to take advantage of that. And then finally, here is our contact information. Should you want more information on any of those resources that we covered, please feel free to reach out, and we would be happy to connect you with further information about anything. So thank you very much for your time, and good luck on your journey.
Thank you guys so much for joining. And I think just the last clarification I just might add in, so your services are for folks who are licensed and ready to start this journey.
Yeah.
Once they get that, boom, you guys kick in, and that's really where all these opportunities start coming up.
Correct.
Yeah.
That and enrolling in that Early Achievers program.
Yeah,
Perfect.
they would have to go and enroll through the merit. It's through
Yes.
merit. Yeah.
Excellent. And we have got, thanks for mentioning that, we have got as different parts of this information session, some folks from DCYF who kind of talk about that licensing requirements and all that stuff. And so it's just kind of nice to segment that, for folks who are looking at some of this stuff for the first time, they kind of know where all these puzzle pieces fit. And so I just kind of wanted to reiterate that, but that is great. Thank you so much for showing all of those services, and thanks for putting your contact information too for folks. All right, I'm here with Janelle Waterman, who is the real-life example of an in-home childcare provider in Washington State. And so we're so lucky to have her on. She's going to speak from some experience. We have got a PowerPoint here, and I will just basically hand it off to you, Janelle, and let me know if I can help.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you asking me to do this and share information about who we are and what we do. I am Janelle Waterman. We have Lucky 9 Childcare in Newport, Washington. And I just did this little slideshow to kind of share with you some things that we have done. So we will talk about being a licensed family home, our process and capacity, what our enrollment looks like, and some of our statistics, and the impact we have on the community, as well as a look ahead to see what's next for us. So this is a picture of me and my family. We are a licensed family home in Washington. We provide childcare in our home. So we live here and we have a childcare here. We have 7 children of our own, but only 4 of them are left at home, and that's soon to be 3 because that guy, a smiling guy in the middle with the glasses, is getting ready to head off to Central. So once he moves out, we'll probably commandeer his bedroom as well. We are multi-licensed, and that means that we have 2 licenses with the state of Washington, and one is foster care and one is childcare. So we have been foster parents for over 7 years, and the shortest guy in the picture with a goofy grin was our foster, and we adopted him when he was about 2.5 years old. We have been doing childcare for almost 2.5 years now as well. So we still hold both licenses, and that is possible. We were part of the pilot program that kind of initiated that again. So as I said, pilot program, it took us about 9 months to get licensed. That was a lot of us kind of contemplating whether or not we really wanted to do it, what it would look like, what the fence was going to look like, just kind of how we were going to handle all of that stuff. So we probably could have got it done quite a bit faster if we knew ahead of time that we 100% wanted to do it. So that was a lot of decision time in there as well. Let's see. So December of 2021, we got our initial license with the initial capacity of 6 children. This is a temporary license that Washington State gives you to kind of I hate to say dabble in it, but you kind of do dabble in it, because when they do your initial inspection, they're just looking at your facility and kind of talking with you about your plans of how things are going to go with your schedule and your cleaning and child records and all of that. But you don't really have any experience with that because you haven't been allowed to have any children yet. So the 6 months is to kind of establish that. So they come back in 6 months and have a look again and check out child records and what it actually looks like. So then in June of the following year, 6 months later, they came back for that. They gave us a non-expiring license at that point and bumped our capacity up to 10 children. And that is based on square footage that you have available for kids in your home, which doesn't need to be exclusive space, by the way. This can be like this room you're looking at in the picture is actually a shared use room. So it is our family room in the basement, but it's also the room that we added on extra in December of last year, 2023. We bumped our capacity up to 12 by adding this kind of school age room or active inside area. So that's the room you're looking at there. So current capacity is 12. Enrollment for us right now, little snapshot at today, because this changes fairly often. We have 21 children enrolled. We have 12 spots because that's the capacity of 12. So I can only have 12 here at any given moment. I have 13 that are on a wait list right now, including 4 that are not yet born. So this number jumps around, varies from month to month as people move or change jobs or schedules. Children may age out, move into other programs or schools, or move out of the area completely. So it's a very fluid number. Usually August or September is a big shift in who's here and what's going on. So some statistics of those 21 enrolled children, 2 of them are ours. So we don't get paid for them, but they do take a spot. They are school age, so they're gone during the day, so I can fill their spot in the middle part of the day. Not in the summer, though. Private pay is 13 of those 21, and 6 of them are on some kind of state subsidy, either a DCYF like foster or kinship placement or Working Connections childcare. Types of care. Again, this is a breakdown of how many kiddos. So full-time, and I'm calling any of my 4 or 5 days a week attendance kiddos full-time because some of the parents work 4-10s, so I don't see them on Fridays or Tuesdays or whatever it is. So my part-timers, I have just 3 of those that are either 1, 2, or 3 days a week that are regularly scheduled. I have 5 that are school age. So I have 3 of those before school and up to 5 after school, depending on the day and the availability and all of that. I have 3 that are currently drop-ins on a space available basis with no real set schedule. Oh, this is a picture of us when we went on our field trip to the county fair and all of our matching t-shirts. I kind of love this picture. You can see some of my staff in this picture as well. My husband and I, our oldest son is in the picture, and then Mandy is one of our part-time employees. So that's kind of that back row. And then the other tall kid back there is one of mine. So I said we have 21 enrolled children. That is 15 families. We currently have 5 employees, not counting my husband and I. The residency snapshot, 5 of those children are Idaho residents and 16 of them are Washington because we're right on the border. And 8 of the moms or grandmas are single primary caregivers as well. So obviously, if they didn't have childcare, they wouldn't be able to work. Here's a couple pictures inside our home. The one on the left and the middle are the same room, just from different angles. So it's kind of a long room. And we call this kind of our main room. You can see all the little stations set up for kind of preschool age kids, basically. When the weather's nice, we actually spend most of our time outside though. So this room doesn't get a whole lot of use when the weather is really good. The room on the right, we call this the baby room right now, but I actually don't even have any babies. Everybody all just turned 2. So we don't currently have any infants enrolled. We have the ball pit in there and a couple of cribs. So I still have 2 that sleep in cribs for naps. So that is where they are right now, actually, as we speak. Here is a picture of the playground. And I show you this because this playground, the fence, the mulch, the whole deal is only possible because of a grant that we got early on. So family home providers can receive grants from Washington State. And they come from a couple different areas, actually from DCYF and from Department of Commerce. It's definitely worth looking into. I had no idea this part even existed when we first started. But we, in the last 2.5 years, have received 2 of the Early Achievers grants for various, gear, equipment, books, toys, or staff pay. The stabilization grant is what I'd like to call the playground grant. This one was post-COVID because we started in December of 21, and they had this going on because there was federal money available to help stabilize and keep childcares open or encourage new ones to open at the time. And we could use this money for a lot of different things. We used some for staff pay, we used some for improvements, and this was our huge improvement right here, was adding this playground and adding this fenced area. We had a smaller fenced area when we first started that met our minimum outdoor space of square footage, but it was just a grassy area basically, so we couldn't do any climbing or swinging or slides or anything like that because we didn't have the mulch. So anyway, now we have a fantastic playground. We also received a complex needs grant in April. We got the money in April. And this one is for serving children with higher needs. And we asked for money for equipment and gear for them. Just a small portion of the grant was that, but most of it was for additional staff. So 2 of those 5 staff members are mostly paid using that grant money, which is huge, of course, if you're actually trying to, look at your balance sheet and try to make some money at this. To have the state pay for those employees is way better than having your tuition have to cover it. So each of these grants that we have gotten, there are extra points or additional funding available based on purely where you are located. So being in Padre County is a low-income community and it's a childcare desert because currently we are the only in-home childcare provider in the entire county. So we will remain a desert in this area until we have a lot more providers. So even if you get started here in Padre County, it's still going to be a desert. So there will still be these monies available and extra points. I think for the complex needs grant, we got 10 extra points just because of our location, which of course helps move you right up on the scale of who gets funded for this stuff, which is awesome. So here's a little look forward for us about what is next. I have already hired a new employee and increased hours for the existing one that you saw in the picture, but my plans are to hire 2 more for now. One of those will be kitchen staff only, and the other one will be a part-timer specifically for a certain special needs child. So obviously we're going to be seeking more grants. We're in the running for one right now, and we just got notified last month that we are still in the running. We did not get kicked out on round 1. So we're pretty excited that we maybe are going to get that kitchen staff person paid for. ECAP is a possibility for us for the fall. So we're in discussions about that. We will start with 3 ECAP preschool slots. So we will do the ECAP program basically in curriculum with all of our preschoolers, but we will have 3 slots that are paid for out of a federal pot of money instead of the Working Connections pot of money. Right now, I told you our capacity was 12. We are trying to increase to capacity of 16, waiting on Washington State to figure out the building code changes and how that's going to affect the WAC. So we're just kind of hanging on for that, waiting for the new checklist and the new procedure for asking for that increase in capacity. We've also been working with our local high school to hopefully get CTE programs added to their curriculum for childcare related fields to just kind of help with the whole workforce of childcare. We'll also hopefully be working with Imagine Institute, being a mentor for future providers in the area where you can come. You well, you will have by this time heard about the Imagine Institute programs. So hopefully we will be one of those mentors that you'll get hooked up with. And the last couple of things, right now we're doing a pilot program for the ASQ, which is the Ages and Stages questionnaire, one of the screenings that happens with children. Sometimes it happens at your doctor, sometimes it happens in childcare. So we're working with Help Me Grow Washington, trying to establish their online process for this. And next up will be a pilot program with the outdoor nature-based program, which is another type of childcare, which I'm sure you heard about in the license section before mine. But we've been in talks with them, so they're going to come out and do a feasibility visit with us next month. And maybe we will be doing both outdoor nature-based center and in-home childcare. They are talking about allowing us to have those two licenses at once. So anyway, it's all a possibility right now, but that's kind of what is happening next for us. And that is the end of that slideshow.
Thank you so much. So what I see on part of that is the snowball effect, where you started small and then opportunities kind of keep coming up and you keep finding new opportunities and you kind of expand and grow.
Absolutely. That's exactly what's happening, because like when we started, we had that capacity of 6, and I didn't even have 6 extra kids because I had the 2 of mine, and it was right before Christmas break that we got our license. So it was like the middle of December. So there was maybe, I don't know, just a few days of school left, and then we rolled into Christmas vacation. And I probably would have done that differently now, looking back on that. I would have actually maybe taken that as vacation. But anyway, hindsight's 2020. We didn't know when, it would be effective for our licensing. So when, it was like the middle of December, like, okay, now you have a license, you can start taking kids. So we started taking kids. And like, okay, next time I'm taking vacation first. Because honestly, we're open 12 hours a day. We've expanded that from the beginning. Initially, we weren't that much, but the families that we serve kind of need a different time. So we open at 6:30 in the morning. We close at 6:30 at night. We don't typically have kids staying as late as 6:30. It's usually 5:45 though. And I definitely have 6:30 in the morning arrivals most days.
Yeah. And it's basically, it's up to you to pick those hours, and you're choosing this based off of what your facility is, or your what you have there, who you have for workers, what your personal schedule is, what works for you.
Exactly. You get to set your own schedule. And that can look like whatever you want it to look like. Now, obviously, if you're super restrictive and say, I only want kids from 9 in the morning until noon, it might not work for a lot of people's work schedule. So, and you can change that. You make your own handbook, so you make all of your own rules. Now, obviously, the state of Washington gets to have a copy of that handbook, and they weigh in if there's something completely not within the rules. But as long as it's inside of, the WAC, you're okay. You can set your own schedule throughout the day. You can set your hours. You can set your own rates for private pay. If you take Working Connections, then you have to agree to take that Working Connections rate. So each family might have a copay or not, depending on what their income level is. But if you take them, that's the rate that you get. Yeah. Which is actually a little bit different with Idaho, because we take ICCP from Idaho as well, because we're right on the border. We can do that. So we've gone through this whole state pay in Idaho thing as well, but Idaho works a little bit different. They intend for it to be a portion always. So everyone has a copay. Okay. So it's a completely different income chart than the Washington side. And they expect the parent to pay the difference between whatever the state pays and what the private pay rate is.
Yeah, well, and I think that's a good just reminder in general that different areas do have some different situations. And right now we're really focusing, internally with this series on kind of the tri-county area, which for rural resources is Stevens County, Pend Oreille County, and Ferry County. But obviously the Newport area is right up against Idaho. So it's very, very common for families to go on either side of that border.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to the grants, had you been a grant writer before you started this? Did you have a lot of experience just getting grants left and right, or was that a process?
Definitely a process. The neat thing about that stabilization grant is there was pretty much no requirement. Like if you had a license, you were in good standing in Washington, and you accepted subsidy pay, you were eligible for that grant. It was just to go in, the grant application was check these boxes kind of a thing, submit, boom. And
there you go.
They sent the money. So like that one was too easy, probably.
Yeah, kind of spoiled the person, maybe.
Very spoiled right off the bat. The early achievers ones that were kind of first on that slide, they're called a needs-based grant, but it's not needs-based on me personally. It's needs-based on the area that I serve. So, and that one is a little automatic as well, but you have to get in at the beginning of that grant cycle and request it. And those are usually $1,000 grants. So, if you need to renew your board book library because the children have chewed them completely and they're ready to be recycled, then, this is something you can use that kind of money for. So usually that one's a materials thing, but we have used some of that for staff pay as well.
Cool.
So, and outdoor musical was one of the things that we asked for. So some of the outdoor musical stuff that we have was paid for by the second grant that we got from Early Achievers. But the more competitive grants there are two, and they're like a revolving cycle. And as far as I know, they're going to continue. So one is called the Equity Grant, and the other one is called the Complex Needs Grant. So Complex Needs is the one that we were just funded in April. And it is a competitive cycle. So like you get on the website and you find the rubric, and it's like writing a paper back in school again. And you're like, you want to max out the rubric in this case, because if you don't, you probably won't get funded. Mm-hmm. So they will ask for, how you have to answer this specific question of how you're going to use this money, how it's going to impact, whatever you picked out of the list of 5 or 6 things that you could ask for. They usually give you grant categories. And I'm trying to remember the name of the grant category we asked for in this last one. It'll probably come to me once we're done here, but anyway, it's very specific questions. You have to just make sure that you're actually answering the question that they asked and providing some kind of like sources, which it doesn't have to be like, AP style or anything like that. Like literally mine were all over the place. Sometimes it was like a website link that I would say, or I would say, this article from this date and time by whom, and then maybe have the main website that I got that article off of or something like that. Yeah. Just so you have something backing up what you're saying and you're not just like making up the answer basically for the question.
Yeah,
so,
you can source it somehow.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it didn't like the format of that was very loose.
Yeah.
They're not super picky about that kind of stuff. So, and I am not a grant writer. I do have a college degree. I have written papers before. I've had to look at rubrics before. But it's very specific on what you can and cannot ask for. So you'll want to read through all of the do not ask for things, because if you ask for something that's on that list, you'll be kicked out in round 1 on basically a technicality. If you don't add up all of the things you've asked for correctly for the final number, like if that math doesn't add up, you'll be kicked out on that technicality.
Wow.
So like if you can just get past kind of the mechanics of their online forms and get that, then that's a huge hurdle, because we have been kicked out in round 1 of a grant cycle about a year ago. And I was just devastated because I was like, oh my gosh, I spent all that time working on that grant. And they're like, sorry, I had asked for something that was on the list of things you couldn't ask for.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Which was a printer. No, it wasn't a printer. It was a copy machine, because I have a printer. So I print off a lot of my forms and things that we need for the childcare using the printer. But when you're doing the ASQ assessments, you literally have this binder of original copies that when you're doing one, you pull out the 24-month one and you make a copy of it. and then you give a copy to the parents and the copy to me, and we're going through and doing this all on paper, right? So I was like, well, I have a printer, but I don't have a copier. So in order to do more assessments and all of this, I was like, I need a copier. So I was kicked out because I can't ask for regular office supplies that would be something that I could use for the rest of my business. I'm like, but I'm not using it for the rest of my business. I'm really only needing it because I do these ASQs. Anyway, there's no going back and explaining yourself or arguing about it. So anyway, it's fine.
But that is an important tip there. And I wouldn't have thought about that. But so to read those guidelines very, very carefully and not go outside of that, because then all your work first round probably goes out the window.
Right. And I'm lucky enough to have some of my drop-in kiddos. Their mom works for the Forest Service. And in her job, she has done a bunch of grant writing. So I always include her in this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, help me make this like match the rubric exactly and read it over and tell me if it makes sense or what else I should say. And she's always really good at throwing in or pulling up some other statistics or sources or things like that always just kind of really help. So I credit her largely with us getting the complex needs grant that we were able to receive. That's
fantastic. And a good reminder too, that we don't have to be in this alone.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and part of what we're really focusing here at Rural Resources on this process is this idea that we get a few more Janelles around, we get a few more people around, and we can help each other out. We have a small cohort of people who, has been there and done that, or going through it together, and that just helps the entire community. And, it's just such a lack of competition around here because, like you said, we're in this childcare desert, and so we need more. We don't have too many. And we just have that, I guess the silver lining is the opportunity to work together. We have no need not to cooperate.
Absolutely. And that I want you to view me as a resource that way, and feel free to give out my information to anyone who asks for it.
Fantastic.
Because we are absolutely willing for people to come over and just do a tour, ask questions, or if you want to be an intern through Imagine Institute and you want me to be your mentor, we can make that happen too, and guide you through this process of all these gazillion websites that you will have to have access to between, merit and DCYF training and being able to find all the WACs and all of these other, so many different websites to keep track of, especially if you do like the food program and if you take subsidy kids and you're doing attendance and KinderConnect, and all of these are different websites. You do early achievers, and now you need the CC website as well. So it's like so many. You should see all the tabs that I have open on my screen right now. Like so many that I'm on there multiple times a week. So it's just a lot to manage. So like when I first started, I literally had this list of all the websites and my password and user ID and all of this. And like, what is this one for? Where do I go to find, this health and safety training or, whatever it was. So just kind of a little guide for myself. And I just completely muddled through that on my own. When I have like even new employees onboarding, I'm trying to make that process so simple for them. Like first, go to Merit and get your account set up, and then go and request your STARS ID number, and then go and make a student login on the DCYF training website. And once you do that, then I need you to go take these 5 health and safety trainings. And in the meantime, we need to get you CPR and first aid and bloodborne pathogens and all of those other outside of that kind of training, which by the way, we have one set up with Katie Henshaw from the high school. I have 3 people, 3 new staff members that need this training. So I got a hold of her because of our meetings through the CHIP Council and was like, hey, can you do this? And so she is doing it. And I've got one of my parents for the kiddos is going to attend, and his teenage brother is going to be in there as well. So like we already have 5 in the class, and she can do up to 12. So anyway, I'm really excited about having that resource available to us.
It's one less thing that you have to start from scratch on.
Well, right. Or have to
and
send
do it.
people all the way into Spokane.
Oh, right.
You know, they're going to do it right here at the high school. So it's just 3 miles from where we are, where it's going to happen. So,
Yeah.
and that's just a testament to this, you know, this CHIP council and the resources that we've brought together as a group. Like that's helping me right now too, not just future providers. So
Yeah.
anyway, I really appreciate that. And I'm totally willing to work with other people and recruit people to do this on their own. And you don't have to do it to the level that we're doing it. I feel like it has, like you said, it's kind of snowballed for us. You know, we went from literally 4 extra kids because it was, you know, 6 capacity, but 2 of them are mine. So I started with just a small handful of kids, and now I'm begging the department to let me take 16.
Yeah.
So, like, but you don't have to do that.
Yeah, and you didn't decide that on day one. This was something that you have now experienced, you know, over the last few years on, and you've thought about this and you prepared.
Right. Well, and with the grant funding and being able to have a giant playground and more staff, it's like, if we have the staff, why are we not maxing this out? Why are we not helping more families if we could?
Yeah.
So anyway,
I think
that's kind of where we're at
fantastic.
now, but that's, you know, you don't have to be there. I also have a giant house, so I have a lot of square footage available. So even in the wintertime or, you know, bad weather in the spring or summer or whatever, even if it's too hot, like I have space inside where I can put these kids too. So, and I have enough staff to be able to split them up into 2 or 3 rooms if I need to.
Yeah. Yep. That's fantastic. And what else I just wanted to ask you about super quick was, you had mentioned that it took 9 months to get licensed, and I'm spacing off the top of my head how long it officially can take, how quickly that can happen. Is it 3 months or 60 days or something like that? But
I want to
that
say it's 90.
90. And
Right.
It's in the beginning of this training here, so if you've gotten this far, you know this already. But I just kind of wanted to call that out because I think that is neat that I mean, this is a process. This isn't just something that, you know, one day you just boom, you have to do it, and then you have no choice over the matter. You have no time to think about this stuff. It's not you know, everyone gets a chance to experience this at their own pace.
Right. And that 90 days is from when you submit that initial application.
Okay,
to when
right.
They have 90 days, the department does, from your date of application to your licensing date. So that's when you're ready to say, I am ready to do this. And there's some certain things you're going to have done before you submit that application. So hopefully they talked about that previously, so I don't have to try to make that up right now because I don't remember. It's been 2.5 years ago and I've deleted all of that information.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, I think that, you know, it looks a little bit different for everyone. I think that's important to notice. And the last thing, I'm so sorry, I do have one more thing for you. What I think is very interesting about your setup is the scheduling maneuvering that you do, where you have 12 spots but 21 children. Can you tell me a little bit about, I mean, is that doable for most people? Do you just have a really organized system to make this work? How do you do that?
Yes, I guess being organized is probably one of my superpowers, and I can prove that if you would look at my whole desk right here, it's in complete chaos, right?
Yeah.
But it's organized here. Like I know where everything is for the most part. And it's a lot of shuffling of sticky notes on the calendar and things like that. But I have one of those giant desk calendars downstairs, and the only thing that's on it is the schedule of which children are coming on a given day. Or if someone's going to be on vacation or something like that, then I have those notes off to the side. So that's to help me and my staff kind of know what's happening for the day, because every day literally looks different. Because I have, you know, one kiddo that only comes on Wednesdays, and I have a different one that comes Tuesday and Thursday. So those two sort of share a spot, and that leaves me an opening on Monday and an opening on Friday right now in that particular line, right? Because I have some that are 4 days a week and some that are 5 days a week. I have some that are only here from 11 to 3 when they do come. So then they don't join us until later in the day. So if I have a kiddo that's just before school, so he's here from 6:30 to about 7:30 in the morning, and then he goes on the bus, and he doesn't come back after school. So I only need his spot for an hour in the morning And then my regular kiddos are rolling in about 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock. So like I can use his spot for a full-timer the rest of the time. So, and then same thing with some after school ones. I've had like the last few kiddos that I have added, the last 3, it's been, yes, I can take your kiddo during the day, but I have to have you pick up this kid by 3 o'clock in the afternoon because the bus is here by 3:10. And I have up to 5 kids getting off the bus. So if I'm up to 12 during the day, I need to be down to 7 for those 5 after schoolers to come in at the end of the day. So I've worked with some people, like if you can work with the schedule.
Yeah.
Then
this is an upfront conversation you're having with that.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. I'm like, this is all I can offer you is between 7:30 and 3. And so if, maybe dad drops the kids off and mom picks them up and they have worked their work schedule out so they can do that. One goes in later, one gets off earlier, whatever it is. Then they just have to make that work. Some families, with single parents, they're not going to be as flexible because of their own work schedule or their hours or whatever. So anyway, we've kind of been able to shuffle in all those different variables and try to make it work for the maximum number of people.
Yeah. Yep. And again, that's the way that you kind of wanted to do it. You chose to do that. That is the schedule that you are thinking, I want to help the most people here. And so this is how it works.
Right.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for talking about that and everything else. As always, I'm just always inspired whenever you talk about these things because I love what I call the snowball effect, and where you just start, and then as you go, it snowballs and more things happen, and it gets more exciting, more possible. That's really neat.
Right. Well, thank you. Thanks for having us here today to talk about it.